All right, Jenna, you ready
Yeah,
for our
man.
first with the random bike in the background? Nice.
Is that what that was?
Yeah. All right. So we got this is gonna be our first duo podcast move because we just want to talk about movies.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining me early in the morning.
We're
gonna stayed out too late. A terrible host for this. The audio quality and all the qualities are going to be very funky. So we're
Yeah,
going to
my
pick
video's
something.
gonna be very blurry. I don't know. We'll see what happens when it records. But I don't understand why my phone is so blurry. It must be. I don't get it, man. Because the Wi-Fi works. Like it works fine on my laptop. I don't understand why my
I mean, it's the nature of the game. I mean, I had to go and do a random background so people don't look at all the pizza boxes in my room. So there's a certain
blurry.
level of just like camera quality that we're just not going to be working with. But that's how you start off small. You do your $500 movie projects where you're just recording something terrible and everyone doesn't really like it, and you only have like one or two actors that you can afford. That's like
Like for
anytime I've
real.
ever. I always love watching like actors when they kind of talk about the roles they've been in beforehand, and you're just like, oh, you were just this is borderline like just softcore like videos like.
Did you ever see X? By the way,
With the
Kid
what
Cudi.
scene? Oh, Kid
When
Kitty.
that was hardcore porn.
Yeah, yeah, that was he was the cool guy who got killed, but spoilers. But I think if it, I don't know, after I think there's a certain limitations to like how long a movie can be out before.
Yeah, movies been out for 5, 6 years.
Yeah, it's like being like, oh no, Voldemort was that guy's head the whole time. But okay, um, so for today we kind of we had this movie kind of chosen. We're gonna choose different movies. I don't know
Yeah,
how
we don't
we're
have
gonna
like a
do
rhyme or
this.
reason yet.
Yeah, we just
Which
randomly
I
have
mean,
been
I
like
think,
watching the same thing and just going like, "Hey, have you seen this?" And we're like, "Oh yeah, I've seen this one too."
which I
Um,
think that might help us. If we at some point establish, like, that might help us kind of figure out a name down the
yeah,
line. If we're like, hey, let's start pivoting towards it. But anyway, I don't know. We'll
the
see.
movie trash bin. I don't know. We'll leave comments, figure out what we're gonna do, how you
Oh wait,
guys
have we
want
already
us.
started recording? Oh yeah, but
Yeah, it's been recorded, baby. Don't put no social security cards, guys. I like if I stand close enough, you can see the mic randomly pop out, and then if I move over here, it just disappears into the ether.
so no, is
Anyways,
that Cyberpunk background?
no, it's some
Never mind, it's
Discord.
Cyberpunk.
It's probably like Fortnite or something.
Mm.
I don't know. I kind of like it though. It's supposed to be like a movie thing, like Discord movie or something. But anyways, shout out to Discord guys.
Yeah,
All right. So Gladiator 2. Do have we seen Gladiator 1? That's the real question.
I haven't seen Gladiator one in a very long time. In a very. I tried to rewatch some of it before I went to go see Gladiator 2, and
Uh,
there's a lot of that movie that I didn't even cross my mind. Like the whole beginning of. Have you seen it?
yes. Yeah, well, there's a whole beginning part where he is actually in the
Like
military,
a
and there's a whole
general,
bunch of
right?
yeah,
That I did not remember. The only thing I remember from Gladiator was like the quotes
yeah.
and them fighting in the sand. Like those of us who were before you were about to die or whatever. And then like, are you not entertained? Those are the
Are
only
you
parts of the
not
movie
entertained?
I remember at all.
And then
Um,
whenever Nero was just like, oh, when he killed this guy, I'm so sad. Why is he not dying?
I thought that homegirl was his wife back, and that was my memory. And then I realized that they were sisters or whatever, and that the actual king was like their father. I didn't realize any of that. Like honestly, I didn't remember any of that.
Well,
Um,
let's see, Gladiator 2 came out
2024.
2024, but Gladiator 1 came out 2000. So it's been 24 years since the last one.
Yeah, and and
And
to be fair, it wasn't. I guess it wasn't that memorable of a movie, in my opinion. Based on the fact that I don't remember most of it. Um, but I remember liking the movie at the time. It's just it was so random they decided to remake that or come out with a sequel 24 years later. So I don't know.
It's a it's weird in terms of the fact that I mean it makes sense like it has to be like 20 years because I've been doing that lately where they're just like, oh, this has been exactly this many years before since this movie was recorded, and that's how much time has progressed, and it's like, okay, sure.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, they really like to do that. We couldn't find the same actor because he died because it's been 40 years, but we put another guy who's just as old as him. It's like okay, um,
But
but
so did you remember more Gladiator one? I guess. Do you have favorite between the two? Do you like one more than the other?
well, I mean, yeah, no, Gladiator One is like when you I started watching clips of it just because like I wanted to refresh my memory because we were like 8 or 10, like
Yeah,
let's be honest, like most
24
of
years ago,
like
man.
yeah, most of our generation isn't gonna be like, dude, you know, I remember this, I remember Crow, you know, like just movies that
Yeah,
like we were children and we didn't understand the in like the nuances of like the storytelling. So we're just kind of like, where's the guy with the sword killing somebody? I want to see this. Um, but I mean, Russell Crowe's always been like that guy. Like I remember when he was in Quick and
give
the
me that.
Dead. Did you ever see that movie?
Mm-mm.
It's a literal movie about it's it's Russell Crowe. I always get Russell Crowe, Kurt Russell, and then Colin Farrell. For some reason, I see Colin Farrell. I'm just like, is that Russell Crowe? I'm like, no, it's not. And even though like, that's just like this is terrible. And then the Kurt Russell Crowe thing is just literally the names get
Man,
mixed up, and I know the
yeah,
difference between the actors. I just innately will go like, man, Russell
get the
Crowe.
wrong name.
Yeah, there's a guy who looks like Kurt Russell, like from Tombstone, that goes to that I see sometimes, and like just hanging out working, and he'll just come to my shop, and I'm just like, dude, what's up, Russell Crowe? And he's just like, and I'm like looking at his face, like, you're not Russell Crowe, it's Kurt Russell. Okay, anyways, back to the dude. The first one's great. The first movie is fantastic. The way that Russell Crowe puts on his performance the entire time. Here's what I'll say about these movies. There's like two good actors in Gladiator One, and then in
Yeah.
Gladiator Two, it feels like there's a like
Oh, I give Digimon some however you say his name. I give him some credit too.
Digimon.
Uh, I can never say that. The black guy that was in the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. The in Gladiator One, right?
Yeah. I give
Yeah,
him some credit too. So I give it a solid three actors.
yeah, yeah. No, you're actually, yeah, I concede on that point. Well, it's like the line is right here, right, with like where it is. Most of the
Yeah,
actors are knocking above their weight class, and
sure.
then but then there's like guys who are just eclipsing it because they're just like, oh man, like. But the good thing is that they follow the guys who are eclipsing it. Everyone around them's good. There's no one that there's no random like boom mic just sitting around, or you know, like there's nothing stupid that you see in this movie.
Yeah.
The the way in which they do like for the way they described this movie was that it was going to be like a budget film kind of. I don't
The
know if I
original
don't.
one?
Well, it's like they kind of just wrote a script and were just like, let's see what happens. They didn't even write a script. I think they made up most of the talking points.
Mm.
It was something weird, like the way that the production of the film, and it's going to frustrate people who know what I'm talking about. They basically
You talking
said,
about for the first one, right?
yeah, they said like there's like a lot of improvised lines and a lot of just
Mm.
like they were just like letting people. They were just recording just to record. They're like, oh, let's. There's something going on. Like they're just feeling. Like they're feeling some kind of way. Let's keep going. Um, because there was a part where I remember in the original where Russell Crowe is supposed to like see his dead wife hanging by a tree or something,
Yeah.
and he's just supposed to kind of like
Yeah.
cry,
Yeah.
just like kind of break down and just. Oh, if I fucking call, why, Zeus, you know, some whatever. Um, definitely wouldn't be Zeus. It'd be whoever the Roman pantheon is. But no, but he's like Russell Crowe decides to like kiss her feet and
Right.
then like try to pull her down, and he starts crying and like breaking down, crying, which kind of
Yeah.
adds a little bit more to this like to this character. But yeah, you don't see that in you don't see that in Gladiator 2. I will say that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I like Gladiator 2 more.
Wow.
but like I said, I don't remember a whole lot from the first one, but I feel like a lot of I guess maybe also it's a timing thing where like a lot of the action scenes I feel like are done really well, but that might be more of a it's 2024 versus 2000 where you're able to do better fight scenes and
Mm,
better um but but overall I will say I thought this movie was just kind of sort of Gladiator 2. I thought Gladiator 2 in general was okay. Like I had a good
mm,
time watching it, but I didn't necessarily think it was like a classic movie or something like that. I thought it was really I enjoyed it, but I thought like I don't know. There was a lot. There was a lot going on. I'll say that. Plot
yeah.
wise, there's like a lot of narratives and threads that are going on that it gets to be a bit too much. Where I wish they kind of focused, reeled it in some.
Mm.
But like I mean, spoiler alert because we're talking this movie, this podcast, this episode's about Gladiator. If you haven't seen it, then you probably shouldn't watch. But
You should,
um,
yeah.
yeah, go check it
Quick
out first and then come back. But
PSA, guys. You should probably watch this. Watch Gladiator 2. Support the movie industry for a little bit, and
yeah,
then go and watch this. Or you can
right.
watch this while you're watching Gladiator 2.
Or if you don't care about spoilers, you can watch this first and then go watch it.
That's true.
Um, but yeah, like at the end or close to the end, there's like back to back to back. Like it seems like eight people die like almost back to back to back to back. Where it's like there's all these specials you got to run. Like Pedro Pascal's character died. He's like what the tipping point. Like he dies, then the mother dies, then the one king or when the one king dies, then the mother dies, then the other king dies. Then
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
back to back where like you get hit with all these slogs where it's kind of like none of this has any weight because it's all so much has been happening. I don't have time to even digest any of this stuff. But but overall, I did enjoy the movie. I will say, like as a watch, I had a good time. I had no complaints or no major complaints about my time spent watching the movie. I'll say that. Um, but it seems like you definitely like Gladiator one more than this one.
I think Gladiator 1 focused. Because, like, if you go by, like, what they're trying to tell people, right? Gladiator 1's kind of about, like, a man going, like, hey, the system's corrupt. I'm still alive. You've tried to like you took everything from me. I'm on my revenge tour, and
Yeah,
I'm just gonna start running the game.
yeah.
Whereas,
Okay,
yeah, this movie
okay.
like the revenge tour wasn't that good. It was just like I'm mad because you sent me away, mom, and I don't like
Yeah,
that. And
yeah,
I'm like, brother, you are like grown enough now that someone could have explained this to you. Like you're not stupid. Like he was not a very stupid character. So you just kind of
yeah,
look at it going like, okay, dude, all right.
yeah. See, okay, that's fair. And I guess that kind of explains because I guess maybe they didn't want to follow because I was wondering why they didn't focus on a more singular narrative to
Mm,
run through the movie, and like that makes a little bit more sense because that would have been the same kind of beat for beat that they did for the first one, where it's like I guess revenge for the death of my family.
yeah.
Which because it seems like they want it seems like that should have been the focus of the movie, in my opinion. Is like his wife died, he wanted revenge, and then he like then you can tie in how the mother like be seeing his mother again can kind of anyway, we can get more of that during the end section. That's part of how like some fixes that I'd make for the movie, so we can get to back to that close to the end.
Oh
But
no, it's like you
that
open the
makes a little bit more sense to me that they just didn't want to I guess copy as much of stuff from the first movie. But
do you remember when they when so they did one thing that I feel like they were like trying to get like this is something I hate when movie guys do. And so they have like the cap like the captain of the guard like after like the first initial battle where everyone gets captured. And it's the big black dude.
oh
He's
yeah,
in
yeah, like yeah, 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 yeah,
yeah, he was in a movie called Spartacus. Not movie, but like a TV show series called like Spartacus. And he was a great like he was like the Domina not the Domina one of the gladiator trainers. He's just like a big hulking guy. And he's just great in that time frame. So they put him in this movie and they're like, "Oh, he's like
oh
this,
yeah,
you know, badass fighter. He's about to be right there with the main character. The main character's like, "Dude, let's freaking go." And then they kill him because he's just
yeah,
like, I don't want to fight. I'm here to die. I'm tired.
yeah,
He's like giving up on life, right? And it's supposed to show like a
yeah,
parallel between this other guy versus the main character. Like the main character has the will to live, but it feels like they also were just like, no, 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 he's not gonna have a black guy as a friend this movie. Because like it look,
Yeah, I know you guys are looking forward to that,
yeah,
but we did that last time, so
we
we're
did.
not sorry.
Sorry, guys, this
Yeah.
black guy doesn't want to survive. It's like what? Come on, come on. It's like it's not even our fault. The guy wanted to die, so we're not killing the black guy in the movie first. It's just that I'm like, there's like when you look at it, like when you see it, right? There's certain times where like you're gonna have fans go and say like, uh, why did you do this? And
Yeah,
that seems like one of those parts where it's like you killed this guy, gave him no backstory, and because you kill the
yeah,
only tie to his life, you basically put the main character by himself.
yeah. But I think that's maybe I guess part of it is that they wanted to have him by himself, and I felt like that guy was kind of also sort of more of his. It seemed like they were trying to imply he was kind of like a father figure, sort of kind of to him, I guess too. And it's like, well, now he has no father figure. His wife is dead. His last like father figure is kind of dead as well. Which could be the movie starts off like it builds in this whole strong tie of like his family because the introduction of him meeting his wife and embracing his
Yeah,
wife, and this guy comes and is like, "Yo, it's time for war, man! Oh, you're to get the signal in the air, or whatever. It's like it's
yeah,
time for war." And he goes and meets that black dude you're talking about, and he's
yeah.
like, you did sacrifice enough or something. I don't know. A whole bunch of stuff goes into it.
I
But
gotta
like,
look this guy's name up because I feel like we can't out of
yeah.
he's been in enough movies that we can't just be like this black guy.
Which is
Gladiator
fair.
2 cast. This is the thing I'm scared of is as you were saying like he was okay. Peter Mezena
Oh, Peter Mensa.
Menza,
Oh,
yes,
he's probably from Ghana, yeah.
yeah, a Ghanaian British actor.
Yeah, yeah.
He's been in a lot of stuff.
Shout out to my
Spartacus.
people.
He's been in like a lot of movies. 300. Yeah, he was in the 300.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
Wasn't he?
What's that?
He was the guy who got kicked down the well, wasn't he?
Oh really? I hated 300 to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Hot take. Didn't really care for 300.
Well, if it makes you feel better, he was also in the Incredible Hulk
Ooh.
and Avatar. I don't
Yeah,
know
I hated
where he was in
Avatar too.
Avatar. Hmm?
I hated Avatar too.
Yeah.
Another hot take. I thought Avatar was. I never finished the movie. To be fair, I couldn't. But anyway, but no. So then, like, the whole the Romans send their army to like attack
Yeah.
this area, which they don't even get into specifically where it is, what it is, or anything like that. But it's just where the main character, who's we haven't even said, but Paul Mescal, who plays Lucius slash Hannah. Hannah's Lucius is like his given name, born name, but like Hannah's like the name. At least he starts going by after he runs away. If you remember from the first movie, I guess he ran away from home, or his mom sent him
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Um, so his new name is like Hannah. Um, so the Roman army is like attacking his nation or whatever. He's in the army, and like the Roman army is being led by Pedro Pascal as
Yeah. As a
Generasius, Achaeus.
yeah.
I can't. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say I'm calling Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
saying his Roman name.
This was one of those movies where like there are names, there are like they do use people's names. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
that ship has sailed. It's no longer existing.
Yeah. Plus. How long ago did you see the movie? Did you see it in theaters or did you catch it on streaming?
Theaters. So it's been a
Theaters.
minute.
Okay. So yeah, we should do that too. And me too. I saw it in theater. I saw it in 40x by the way. It was shout out to
Oh
40x if y'all haven't seen. Because especially this scene in the beginning, where like because the ship, the Roman army's coming in on ships, so like the
yeah.
seats are like rocking back and forth with like the
Oh,
waves of the ocean. It was kind of dope.
that's awesome.
Um,
Actually, that
but
is
like yeah,
actually awesome.
I
Shout out to that
was getting
first
pulled
scene
in
though,
every direction.
because to your point, when you said that there's like the fighting scenes are great in this, outside of one, I think me and you might talk about this. These so I'm a huge buff of like historical like sieges. The
Okay, yeah,
Romans did not play when it came to like efficiency, man. Those ships were just like you can take us down, but we're still coming. We're coming in hot too. And they all hit each point where it was like they didn't even have any problems like just ramming right into the side of the wall and then just like throw
yeah.
those siege ladders up there. Let's go. I was like, dude, no wonder the Romans have been kicking butt, dude. Come on now.
No wonder they had an empire.
Yeah, and then the defenders are just like, we're gonna win, guys. We'll survive. And I'm like, they might have this might be a good fight, and then the Romans slaughter everybody. I was like, oh
Yeah, but it does start off a little bit because, like, for example, like his wife is like an archer, and she's
yeah,
sitting there like like taking people out left and right, like Legolas style, like
yeah,
taking people out left to the point where like Pedro Pascal, who's the general,
yeah,
like orders to have her kind of like somebody take her out, take out the archers because they're killing us
yeah,
right now, take them out. So like Lucius like sees his wife getting killed
yeah,
by whatever it was, and that distracts him long enough so he gets knocked out and somehow just wakes up alive in the middle of the water, just hanging out. Somehow he made it through the whole war after just getting knocked out. Very lucky soldier. And then like he was so then like he sees his wife out the but one thing I did find that was pretty cool though was because they showed Pedro Pascal after he won, like they're burning the bodies of like the all the, I think it's their fallen and the people that they've killed or something like that.
mm,
But then and you see like all the family members of this nation that they attacked, that the Romans attacked. You see all their family members or the surviving family members like mourning their loss, and
yeah,
you can tell by like his he does great like physical acting with it. You can tell like he's not happy that he won this war. You can tell like
yeah,
he's kind of like this like I didn't this wasn't what I wanted to do. Like this isn't I
yeah,
don't like this. Which I thought was weird because it ties into the fact later where he wants to he wants to rebel against the kingdom or whatever. He's tired of being thrown out in these brutal battles, killing all these
mm,
people. Like it's worn. It's had its effect on him, but you can see it a lot in his face. So I did really appreciate like that scene and then kind of how they build on it later.
yeah,
Um, but anyway, so then they Lucius gets captured, uh, and is what they I guess is historically what they would do then to get their gladiators and stuff in general is like they'd capture war prisoners and like sell them. I guess because I can see them being sold off as slaves. That's what basically what
yeah,
happened. Right? He gets sold off as a slave to Denzel Washington's character,
yeah.
and he decides to employ him as or all these people that he's buying, slaves that he's buying, employ them as like gladiators. That's his whole thing is to find these slaves that he can buy and turn them into gladiators so he can bet on them and do all sorts of things.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Um,
It seems like technically like from like someone who has never owned a gladiator, right? Like,
Well, because this is
from
his first time, isn't it? Or is it his first time doing it?
oh Denzel's
Yeah. Or what do you mean? You mean from your perspective?
yeah from my perspective. So
Oh,
like Denzel's character obviously knows how to be like he, but like if you ever owned a gladiator, right? Like I'm not gonna say owned a slave, right? But like because this actually really does only pertain to like the gladiator stuff. You're putting a
mm.
lot of money into like a fighting champion
Oh,
because you have
yeah,
to like clean their wounds whenever they get hurt in battle. You
yeah,
have to like place to sleep, train like people like things to train, equipment, food,
yeah,
lots of food, and
yeah.
then you basically send them out there and it's like, oh, it might be a sparring session. Like we won't lose our guys. And there's a lot of times where it's just like you send them out. I'm only saying this because I played a video game called Domina. Shout out to Domina. It was like a cool little like side-scrolling game, but you play
Mm-hmm.
as like a domino, which is like a one of the people who runs the gladiator, like has their own gladiator shop, right? And so you just like will pick guys based off their name and what they're good at, and you're like, oh, this guy sounds cool. Like I'm gonna take Artorias and Crixus. I'm taking both of them.
Just to say, I can take these
Yeah.
Roman names.
Oh yeah. Then you take like you get more money because your boy Crixus just became like the LeBron James of the gladiator world, and you'll be like, you know what? I'm sending Crixus to do all these fights. And then Crixus like gets into one fight where he fights like three lions and like four other gladiators by himself, and he likes doing well. And you're like, yeah, Crixus never going to be beat. And then like a lion just rips his leg off and starts killing him. You're like, no. And you just realize how much money you just put into this guy, and you're like, oh
Yeah,
no,
because
this,
that's the thing. Because you're putting all this money into them, but literally you're sending them off to these death battles potentially. So it's like all this money that you're investing in these people basically to die. And if they and the thing is, the goal is for them to win enough so that they can buy their own, so that they can be free. So
yeah.
then it's like, well, are you just going to get back your investment? What are you really earning?
Yeah,
From
like
society?
so I'm wondering how much money they get for these gladiator fights.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah, because it could just be that these fights are just butt ton. Because to be fair, he does mention a point of money later. Because that's the thing. Denzel like takes this dude. He is betting like gambling on the side for these
Mm.
people. But there's a point because I don't know if you remember the scene in particular. I think it's the first time he meets that guy that he's gonna be betting with. Which he's it's this guy that's on like the secret council or whatever that
Yeah,
Queen goes by. But
you might be on the
it's
Senate.
like
It's so I think
Descendant,
there.
right? Descendant. My
Yeah.
bad. Descendant. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, and like Denzel like says like like 100 shillings or whatever the money is. He like names the price. And the guy like
Yeah.
doubles. He's like no 2 million. And Denzel turns and looks at somebody, this lady, and it's
Mm.
almost like he's asking for permission. Like is that good? And she just nods her head. And he's like all right, 2 million it is.
Oh, here's a
Which
fun thing about Roman culture. There was like so back in the day they used to have a crap ton of slaves. So like when we were
mm,
like, oh no, slavery, it's like no, this is their economy, this is their bread and butter.
yeah.
Which I think there was a couple times where that hit them pretty bad. But so one of the things they would do is they would have slaves that from cultures that like if you take over a village and instead of
Mm-hmm.
you kill all the people that are dangerous, like that would be dangerous to your stuff, and then everyone else is like, well, you beat us and you killed my husband and my children have been taken away from me. But back in the day, I used to be a seamstress or I'm
Mm-hmm.
like a good cook. They'll be like, oh, cool, you're now a slave and you're just going to be a cook or a seamstress. And so a lot of
Right.
times they would have people who were great with finances and it's like, you're
Mm.
my slave. You're going to run my finances. If you do a good job, I will give you your freedom one day. Because that was the
See,
thing is,
see, because okay, but like, because the thing is, apparently, I don't know if you saw any,
mm,
apparently she was supposed to have like a big part in the movie.
mm,
Like she was supposed to have some kind of big role in the movie that was supposed to. I don't know if it was supposed to rival Lucius. Like maybe there's supposed to be some kind of like affair thing there. So I have no idea specifically
mm,
what, but apparently because of which I didn't realize this just from her face, but like she was from I don't know if you ever saw Moon Knight, but she was like one of the main
mm,
people in Moon Knight or whatever.
yeah,
But like apparently she's like really in public her real life persona where she's like really outspoken about like Palestine and like
uh,
support for Palestine. So apparently they allegedly like cut most of her roles out, or everything out of the movie that was supposed to be part of her and just left like
Jesus,
that scene and maybe a couple other scenes where she doesn't say anything and just kind of like nods and stuff like that.
yeah,
So I wonder if they were gonna kind of dig into like, oh, well, she used to be like this finance person and then like now she's supposed to be a slave and like I have no idea, but I think it's weird. But I also wonder, I mean, I don't know if it was just a rumor that she was cut because of her stance on Palestine,
mm,
or if it was more of a this movie is as bloated as this movie is. We don't need a sixth or seventh, eighth narrative to kind of thread into this movie, and they cut it out. Then I
yeah.
don't know, but like I remember I saw some stuff about that like she was supposed to have a big role um, that they cut post
You
production or
know,
pre production or whatever. I don't know, but
I, this definitely sounds like someone who like is writing like the sequel to Gladiator One, right? And like we're just gonna
yeah.
keep the same plot points, and then they start talking about like then they start writing, and they're like, wait, actually, Roman culture is
About what?
crazy. Yeah, there's like there's a HBO show called Rome, which is very fun to watch because
Mm-hmm.
it tries to be very like it gives you The Wire. You ever watch The Wire?
No, not honestly not. I've watched some of it, but
Uh,
not a lot.
so The Wire was always like this thing
It's on
where
my
like
list.
it gives you like multiple plot points and different variations of like, hey, here's how it is to be on the street level selling drugs. Here's how it is when you're a cop. Here's how it is when you're in the school system. So you kind of get an idea of like the whole art like landscape of like, oh, this is all messed up. So Rome did the same thing during like the Julius Caesar, like Caesar's out on campaign, and they go to the
Mm-hmm.
Senate, and the senators are like, so everyone loves Caesar right now, and we are terrified because if he comes back and wants to throw hands, we're he's a hero. He's a damn this boy's he's a goddamn war hero, right? Um, so like there's this in the way they did it is they go and show you how it is to be like a soldier, how it
Mm-hmm.
is for the like to be a slave, how it is to be because they have all these different arching characters that have different roles in the story and different
Mm-hmm.
different part like they play places in the hierarchy. So it's really fun to watch if ever you want to watch that and then go into Gladiator 2 because it
Yeah.
gives you a certain perspective of just because as you said this movie probably got very bloated because they got into the weeds. They're like, oh, this guy
Yeah.
also and then this other guy, he's the guy who trains all the tigers and the monkeys and whatever, right? That monkey scene was terrible. I just wanted to.
Which okay, because that's the thing. Because that's one of the first fights that happens. That is like they're going to come some kind of side event or whatever
Yeah,
where I guess Denzel's trying to test out this particular. Oh well, no, actually, no, that was back when they before when he was buying him, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah,
Where it was like so it was like to show off all these slaves that they got. They threw them into this like kind of little ring and had them fight against these monkeys,
yeah.
which
CGI,
That
maybe.
was a terrible. It was a terrible CGI. The
Very.
CGI was so bad for that
That was
movie.
very Scooby Doo esque. Like they look like the
And,
Scooby Doo monster.
and the thing is, because like I think the reason why they made that was the only hairless monkey was the one that was fighting Lucius, the one that was fighting Hannah or
Yeah.
Lucius, whatever you want to call him, the one that was fighting him because like I think they made it hairless. They made it try to seem like it was more human like because it's easier to maybe animate it and make it look do the things that they needed it to do. I guess maybe I don't know if that was the reason why, but like it looked terrible. It was the only hairless one. And my beef with this is kind of my beef with a lot of the fightings. I did enjoy a lot of the fightings, but the thing is, everything turns into like a one on one. It was really like
Mm.
in this one particular, it seems like once he beats his monkey, all the other monkeys just stop fighting, which is like, why
I
would
feel
that
like you
happen?
gotta be careful saying that because I feel like that is an actual euphemism. Beating your monkey. I feel like
Slapping that monkey or spanking monkey. I don't know. But it's like
just having
once
a
that
monkey
it's like
fight
the
in an
monkey.
arena. Uh,
It's like the monkey beats the black general dude that we were
yeah,
talking about
yeah.
earlier. The
Oh yeah,
monkey
kills him
kills him.
instantly.
So when he's pissed off, you see all the anger comes out in him where he like takes his monkey out, chokes it out at some point.
Yeah,
Um, and all the other monkeys just stop fighting and just watch what's going on. Like the monkeys will still be like nobody's fighting in the background. It's just mainly just him fighting his monkey, and then that's it.
yeah.
Which later even just you can get just talk about all three of the fights now, I guess. But like, or all four, three, four. Anyway, but like one of the
It's like
first
four or
fight
five.
in the actual Gladiator games
Mm.
was like
The
eight of the
rhino one, right?
gladiators versus a guy on a rhino, and it's like
Yeah,
it was like a guy on a rhino versus 10 gladiators, let's say, right?
yeah,
Then as soon as they get him off the rhino, it's a one on one between Lucius and this guy. I'm like, we're all the same people. Y'all are fighting
yeah.
for your freedom. It'd be an 8-on-1 right off the bat. Like, why is everybody saying like,
Or
hey,
at least
listen?
address that it's going to be a one-on-one. Like, stay back.
Right,
I'll
right,
fight him
right. There's
myself.
something that's all it needs. A simple, I got this, guy. Stay back. I'm
Yeah.
the MVP of this gladiator team. I got this. But it was like an immediate one on one. I'm like, bro, what is this? I'm trying to fight for my freedom too.
You know
Um,
what? Lucius adopted the gladiator lifestyle so freaking quickly that it was kind of
yeah,
frustrating because he's like, "Oh, I don't like this. I'm not happy with this." And then he starts hanging out with the boys, and he's just like, "Ho ho ho! I'm one of the boys now." And you're just like, your wife got killed, and you were sad
yeah,
about it for a little bit. Then you talk to
yep,
Denzel, and now you're like, "Well, it's not the worst thing. It's
yeah.
not the worst thing in the world." And then you forget about his wife dying. Then
But
he's
like
just
this is the
hanging
thing.
out.
But it's not even like because he doesn't forget about his wife dying. It's like the movie just forgets about his wife dying, kind of sort of. Because like his whole thing is that's the whole thing. Because one of the early scenes when he meets Denzel, Denzel's like, "Yo, I see all this rage and anger in you. Whose head can I bring to you that'll calm down your that'll satiate your anger or whatever?" Right? He's like, "I
Yeah,
want the general's head." At first, he's like, "I want the whole army of Rome because they're responsible for my wife's death. I want to kill every single one of the mugs." And
yeah,
then he's like, "Well, I can't give you the army, but I can give you somebody." And he's like, "Well, give me the general's head."
yeah.
And then, without hesitation, Denzel's like, "All right, I got you." I'm like, "Wait a second."
You know what?
He said that, and I was like, How are you gonna give this man the general's head? That's a empty lie. You just lied to him, right?" But
Yeah,
spoiler alert, he gives him the
he
general's
does it.
head on
And,
a
he's,
silver
and the best
platter.
part is he
No
probably saw
problem.
that. Dude, he saw that and he was like, "Oh, that was already part of my plans, so it works."
But like right from that moment, right then and there, when he promises it to him, he says it like he knows he can do it. I'm like,
Oh
man,
well,
how
you know what? That's where that devil mentality kind of like. So it feels like they made him like the spirit of vengeance against
Yeah,
Rome
yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
we're gonna skip ahead just a slightly.
Oh yeah,
When
go
he
ahead.
dies, they don't show the body. He dies and he's like, "Oh,
Uh,
you slain me," and then he just disappears into the water like he's like some like
the thing is,
spirit.
it was literally like was it an actual river or a lake or was it like
Yeah,
a puddle? Oh, okay, never mind. I was about to say,
it was
'cause
like
I
a
remember
little
it was,
river. It was like a little stream or
it was like
river. Like it was like a
but
creek.
he falls into it as if it was like a 10 foot deep pool or something
Oh,
like that. And it's like, bro, this is like 2 feet of water, maybe 3 feet of water.
well,
It
they
was
were
like ankle
definitely
deep when we were
standing.
fighting in.
Yeah, they were standing when they were fighting each other as they got pushed into the water. And they get stabbed. He's like, and then like and the guy like climbs out of the water, and you're just like, how deep is this puddle?
Yeah, yeah.
And but then they do the thing where they're like, when he dies, they don't see the body, and then you don't really.
I do like that idea of the spirit of vengeance a lot because his whole backstory because they lead to it later in the movie. His whole backstory is like the Lucius's grandfather owned him as a slave.
Yeah,
And like his whole plot thread is like, I came to fuck Rome up because I was a slave. Now I'm going to own Rome and fuck it
yeah. Oh
up.
yeah. He wants to see it burn. Here's the
Yeah,
fun thing. I've started to realize this through our conversation now is that there's more I shouldn't say this. There's more sexual tension between characters thinking about guys off screen than there are people like on screen. Because like Lucius will constantly look like think of like Russell Crowe's character, Maximus,
yeah.
and just be like, Maximus, what would you do? What would you do, Maximus? And then meanwhile his wife is dead and he's just like, ah baby, I'm sorry. Then he just sees Maximus's like gauntlets, he's just like, oh god, Maximus, what God, I miss you, Maximus. And then like all these characters keep coming out with like their like person that no one's ever met or seen, and they're just like, man, if this guy was here, oh, I miss this guy. I'm just like, I'm really curious like what a director's cut for this movie is. Like if it's just like an 8 hour long like go into the villages and stuff and see people like you
Yeah.
follow like a family going to the Gladiator games and going like, oh no, I heard Lucius the monkey eater is going,
That would be an interesting perspective. Getting like another angle, like getting a kind of like what was it,
the peasant.
Cloverfield esque movie,
Yeah,
like from the perspective of just someone going to the Gladiator games. Um, but
actually.
there's a fight earlier on, like after Denzel's bottom, like there's an early fight earlier on where it's like some side game thing. That's the thing I was kind of got mixed up
Oh,
earlier.
the, in front of the prince's room.
This is where you kind of sort of get to meet the two kings a little bit more as well, and see some of their personalities some more. Because it's like the it's owned by two emperor brothers. Like the Rome is
Yeah,
ruled by like these two brothers, which they're twins, right? They're supposed to be twins. This one
twins.
came out
Yeah,
a little bit earlier than the other one, but
yeah.
they dig into that a little bit later, which we'll probably dig into a little bit later. But like and the thing is, it's just Lucius, like Denzel brings just Lucius to this thing to test him out because he's been shown as the real badass. Like earlier, he's the one that killed a monkey. Nobody else
Yeah.
killed the monkeys. He fought the I don't even know who this guy is. The guy that Denzel has fight him when he in the after right after he buys him the
Oh,
guy
so
with the
that's like
round
his
head.
that's yeah his trainer. He goes
His
and sends
trainer,
his
right,
like
right, right. So then he fights his trainer, no problem. But anyway, so then it's like this is Denzel meets the guy from the Senate to bet on this little game right here, and it's like Lucius versus the Senate guy, the Senate's guy. I don't know,
yeah
but
yeah
and it's like the king decides one of the emperors decides to make it like a fight to the death. So then like Lucius wins, kills the dude, and at the end because he's so pissed off at Rome in general and all this stuff, like he acts like an asshole and like doesn't say anything, and then like the emperor talks to him directly, and he refuses to speak, and then like he just like blurts out this poem, which I don't even. Oh, I don't know. I wasn't listening to the poem
they
very
were
much
they kept
either,
trying to
but
make Lucius's character poetic, somber, and like well
yeah.
versed as the like Russell Crowe's character
Which why
Maximus.
would he be growing up outward? Well, actually, no. To be fair, because it was supposed to be a poem that his mom recited to him when he was
Yeah
younger, like all the time when he was really young. So he says this poem, and everyone's like shocked, like, "Oh, he's a
yeah.
poet. The savage is a poet."
Well, it's also the
Um,
fact that it's like I think like a very important noble rung poetry
uh,
that only like nobles would know. So there's like a certain
uh,
level of like that's why like Denzel's character is like, oh, who is this man actually?
yeah,
Oh
yeah. And later, during that first fight, the emperor's like, "What? Isn't it, that's the guy from before who said that poem?" And he starts saying from the poem.
yeah,
And then the mother's like, oh wait, that's that poem that I sent to my son all the time. And she like finishes the poem. And Denzel's like, wait a second, there's a connection here between her and my slave or whatever.
the
But
way
like
the lady just got real sad talking about this poem, it might be her son.
and dude, my thing about that too is like she's watching him and she doesn't it's like she doesn't realize it might be her son just based on looks. It's because of
Yeah,
the fact that he takes some sand and throws it up in the air when it's like how many gladiators do you think have come through and done that? Because it's like a thing that some everybody saw. Right, is Marcus Aurelius.
everyone
He
saw
just did it.
Maximus
He
do.
just did it
Yeah,
with chalk his hands. it's like how many kids have you seen do the LeBron James chalk thing all the time?
Yeah.
It's like so many gladiators that came through to do it just because it was the cool thing to do. And Marcus Aurelius or whatever, not Marcus,
Uh,
whatever Lucius's dad, his name is Maximus. Maximus is like the
well,
god gladiator.
I don't think
I
Lucius.
don't know his
I don't
name.
think Maximus. I don't think Maximus is Lucius' dad. I think he's the guy. I think they hung out. No, maybe I don't know.
No, 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 no. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be his dad. The thing is because she was pregnant and then had this kid. But then I think everyone thought it was somebody else's father. Somebody else was the dad, but it turned out it was really Lucius. I think maybe not. Maybe it's not his dad. I
I
don't
don't know.
remember.
There's a lot of plot. There's a lot of plots going around. There's a lot of intrigue.
You and plus you remember more about the first movie than I think it's supposed to be his dad though. 'Cause that's the whole moment of him putting on the armor. So he's like, "Oh, I'm putting on my dad's
Yeah.
armor," and I think it was supposed to be a whole thing like that. I think.
Well, the thing is, I thought that so the main guy, to my knowledge, I thought Maximus in the first one, his wife and kids were killed,
No, no,
and
yeah, his
then
original wife and kids were killed. But then I think when
yeah.
he becomes the gladiator slave, at some point he hooks up with the mother in this
Oh,
movie, and then Lucius is supposed to be his son. Even though everyone thinks at first that it's supposed to be somebody else's son, it's supposed to be I think a whole thing where like you find out that it's actually his son, which is why she like sends him away once
once they find
the
out, because
right because like
but
he's not. I
was
don't know why
well, he also was sent out because he
too
was
young
the next in line for the throne.
and
But
right
there
he's
was
too
a
young.
power vacuum because there was a lot of people who could vie for that title because of the Nero, and his own Walking Phoenix's character and all of like the people that were tied. There's like a lot of branching families, and then the Senate
Mm-hmm.
itself. That's what
Which
always
is why, because
happens.
technically
Yeah.
these two emperors are like her cousin, right? They're technically supposed to be like her cousin or something like that.
Yeah, it's like all once you get
Yeah,
the noble houses, they're all kind of just like, hey, we're my cousin's gonna marry your cousin, and we're gonna have a kid
yeah.
or whatever, and we'll
But it's
tie the
like,
houses together.
but
Yeah,
my whole thing is like, cause they she didn't. It takes him doing the whole chalk this thing, which he's not even doing it like as a celebratory. He's doing it literally to as like a move to like distract the rhinos, and the rhino runs into the wall.
yeah.
But like, and that's when she's like, oh, that's my son. I think that's my son. And it's like, come on. And on top, because later when Denzel goes to her house and sees the statue of her grandfather as a kid, it is a spitting image. It is
uh,
literally they took Paul Mescal's face and made this bust of a statue that's in her house, and it's supposed to be her father. I'm like, he looks, it's his face. How did you not recognize that was your son? And it literally looks like the statue in your house.
but
Like,
I will
it should
say,
have been on. That's why Denzel Washington saw it and he's like, oh, that looks like my slave. Like that looks like
so
my gladiator. Like on
yeah.
site.
I mean, it's, both words were accurate. What you just said, slave or gladiator. It's basically the same thing. Because it is. It's the
Yeah.
only time that you're not a slave is if you're just like really poor and you're just like, hey, I'm about to go and be with the slaves and become a gladiator. But most
Yeah.
people didn't want to die randomly, so
Yeah.
or like have like a career-ending injury like a lot of those guys. Like what is the Lucius's friend that he makes, and he becomes like a healer. But
Oh, the
that's
doctor?
yeah. But one of the things, so like I think I can kind of understand how the mom would never know because the mom doesn't want to see the gladiator fights because she's like, oh, these are barbaric,
Because
and
she's watching. She's sitting there
she's
front row
watching, but
center.
yeah, but like so like but I could see like Denzel because he's more in the midst of both realms in the
Mm-hmm.
world, where he would
And
be
actually, I
more.
guess you know what. To be fair, it's not like she's seeing them up close and personal. She is up on that podium, way up in the
Yeah,
stands, looking down, so you can't get that clear of a look at his face.
you just see a blonde-haired person, and you're like,
That's
oh,
fair.
that's
That's fair.
and she only
I'll give you
yeah.
that.
And who knows, like, and whenever you're like, and during that time, she's just like, I thought you were dead once I sent you away. It was the hardest thing I ever did. And the guy's like, oh, mom, I'm mad at you.
See, that's another problem I have. It's because literally that's the first time they meet, right? And
Yeah,
he's like, I hate you. You never came and got me. You sent me away. Meanwhile, you're living this cushy life in Rome, up on the throne, and I hate you. I hate your son
yeah,
died years ago. There is no son of
yeah.
yours. I have no mother.
And your new
He goes
boyfriend killed my
hard.
wife.
He
Yeah,
goes hard. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's like, that had me rolling a little bit because they're sitting there talking. She's like, "Do you have a family?" He's like, "Oh, I have a wife." And she gets so happy. She's like, "Oh, my son, you have a." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, your husband killed
yeah,
her." And
yeah.
then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Oh no. Are you still
But
mad at him? Will you not kill him later in the
it's
story?
like that's the first time they meet. Literally, the next time they meet, they're lovey dovey. Where he's like, oh, not lovey dovey, but he's all like the very next time that she comes by to
Yeah.
talk to him, he's all like, oh, my mom, and they exchange rings and all this. I'm like, bro, you hated her so much. Nothing happens, and the thing is, you can have that moment, but nothing happens between those two scenes that she should have earned his forgiveness. There's nothing that happens in between those things that she earned it.
You know what? And I will say that that is one of the problems with this film is that
Yeah,
Lucius is supposed to be this guy that you root for, but because he's such a whiny baby at times, and
I'll give it. I'll somewhat give it to him though, because he was abandoned, and then his wife was killed by this Rome
yeah, but he doesn't like care
this.
about his wife after a while. Like after a while, he's more just like,
You see, that's what I'd say. I'd argue that he does, but the movie doesn't. Because
okay,
that's why he wants to kill the general so bad. It's because
yeah,
the general killed his wife. Because even that part when the second fight at the Gladiator games, when the ships are like when the whole ship battle happens, he
yeah,
grabs the air bow and arrow, or was it crossbow? I think it was
yeah,
crossbow. He's like the minute he gets a chance to, he's aiming that right at the general's like, I want that man. I want him so bad.
yeah.
But then that's the whole thing. It's because like literally when he has the chance to kill him later, because it's been on site again, nothing happens in that moment that he should forgive the general for any of that, and he shouldn't want to kill him. Literally, you're trying to kill him in the middle of this other random battle. So then when you
Okay.
have a one-on-one right then and there, he just decides not to kill him for no reason. And I'm like, this whole movie it's been on site. Why is the movie forgetting about what his whole on site beef right now, just for the sake of plot?
No, I'm with you on this because there is a certain level of like, yeah, okay,
And it's just because it's
I
like
can
the
see
movie's
it.
been
I can
long
see it.
enough. We need to flip his motivation. So now all of a sudden, because there's nothing that Pedro Pascal says to him when they're fighting. Because the thing is, okay, let's just take it back a little bit too. Because what happens? She finds out that that's her son. Meanwhile, like there's this whole back because there's another background plot going on between his mother, like Lucius's mother,
Mm,
and Pedro Pascal, because they're trying to they decided they want to kind of overthrow these emperors and start a rebellion or whatever, a coup d'état, and get them out of play. Because Pedro Pascal's like, I got an army, a couple nations over that can come over and back us up. We can shut these guys down. They have meetings with the Senate, and the Senate's kind of on board. The Senate's like, all right, listen, if you guys come with a power move, we will support you, but you got
yeah,
to come with that strong hand, right?
yeah,
This is kind of goes into what I would fix about the movie, but like, because they have a little argument where once she realizes that Lucius is her son, she's like, we got to break him out and have him here. And Pedro's like, I mean, let's stick to this plan, overthrow Rome. We can worry about that later. That's kind of one of my beef is because he Pedro Pascal is technically supposed to be heir to the throne. He's
mm,
supposed to be the emperor right now. The only reason why he's not is because you sent him away. He's back. Pedro Pascal should be like, all right, let's break him out, use that, and overthrow the government, saying we have the true emperor of Rome right here with us. That should be
mm.
the plot point, and there should be something more there where I feel like you could. Because I don't know if I want to go into. I'll save it for later. I'll save it for when I go into my fix later. But
Okay, okay. No, I feel you. Like, there's definitely a lot of like points in this movie where you're just like, it's really hard not to root for Denzel's character because Denzel's character is very much like on top of it. And the thing that
yeah,
annoys
Yeah,
me,
yeah. Because for most of the movie, he seems like he's somewhat of a good guy, and he's like a really driving force for the movie. And it seems like,
yeah,
and not even necessarily a good guy, because that's the thing. That's part of the problem with the movie. It's like it's trying to set up too many. It's too much going on. They're trying to set up too many villains. Like, are two emperors supposed to be the villains? Is Denzel supposed to be the villain?
yeah.
Like
There's three good
it's
guys. The
Rome.
main
It's Rome.
villains are the insane children that are the kings.
Yeah,
And then you have Denzel's character who's just like, we need to find a
secretly
way
the
to
king.
reel this in. And then the
Yeah,
mom, and then the Max, and then the not Maximus, Pedro Pascal's
Pedro.
character, Pedro boy is like, we should probably reel this in and get them off the throne. So I'm like, is this about to be like a fucking team up? Because I was kind
Yeah,
of excited for that shit. And then it's like, yeah, okay. And this we'll go into that when we go and move on. I think so. Like, what's the? Do you want to go into like kind of move into the fixes now, or do you want to go into like? Because I feel like we've kind of
yeah, because I keep trying to dig into the fixes anyway. So let's just go
we're
to
just at
that.
this point going into like,
Yeah, because that's okay. So that'd be a major thing. Because I think a way to kind of cut down on these plot threads is, like I said, the overall driving force should be Lucius wanting revenge for his family, right? And instead
Yep.
of having the narrative be that his mom abandoned him or whatever and didn't really look, I think it should have been that she kept trying to look for him, but like the emperor's I don't know did something to her because she was looking for him because they knew she was out there looking for this new heir to the throne. So like they beat her up or something or I don't know they did something to her, locked her in a dungeon for a while, and it was Pedro Pascal that kind of saved her, and that's how they kind of became involved and got married.
Yeah.
You have that as a thread, but like she never stopped looking for him because that could be the turning point that like while he's trying to kill Pedro Pascal, like yo Lucius man listen your mom never stopped looking for you bro, like she never. It's not that we abandoned you. It's like we tried to save you, but it almost cost her life. I had to come and save her. But we've always been out there looking for you, and it should be the once he finds out that he's the son. It should instead of being like let's stick to this plot, it should be let's break him out,
Yep.
use him as the true emperor of Rome, and use him to overthrow the government. And that kind of cuts down along some of the plots, and it kind of ties it into this whole narrative of him being abandoned, then him losing his wife. He and once Pedro Pascal kind of breaks it down to him like, we never stopped looking for you. That could be the turning point that makes him forgive his mom, makes him kind of be like, oh, well, he's not my true enemy. My true enemy is these emperors and Rome in general. Like, I should want to kind of take over Rome, or I should want to at least take out these emperors instead of Pedro Pascal because they're the true reason why my wife is dead, not him.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that can kind of help kind of cut down on some of that. And I honestly I think I cut most of Denzel Washington's stuff out of the movie because I don't think he needs to be the bad guy. I think the bad guy needs to be Rome. Like and I think the only reason why his particular character has so much plot narrative wrapped up into it is because it is they hired Denzel.
Yeah.
If it
Yeah.
wasn't Denzel and they hadn't paid the big bucks to have this guy in the movie, they wouldn't have done any of that extra stuff. Because this whole thing where he kind of convinces one emperor to the emperors to turn on each other and one to kill the other one. He
Yeah.
comes up from behind and gets his knife and like
Yeah. It
stabs
just
the other one.
helps him. Like, let me help you with that one, buddy.
Yeah,
That
and it
was.
does lead to a scene where him taking the emperor's head and putting it on a pedestal in front of like the Senate and twisting it around. It does
Yeah.
lead to some dope moments, but I feel like that's extra fat where it didn't need to be in the, it bloats the movie, and the only reason why they did it is because they had Denzel. And like we need to use Denzel. Let's use Denzel. But I think if you cut a lot of that out, you have a more singular narrative, and it makes that you can kind of dig more into rather than having a lot of these lightly touched plot points. But
Yeah.
anyway,
So for me, because of how Denzel did such a great job, for me, I would almost because some for me, I like to like go into a movie's strengths. Because
mm-hmm.
if you go into like, because I feel like one of the weaknesses is that they show you how evil the princes are because
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of just I don't know if this is the right word, but like sycophants or like sociopaths, where
Yeah, 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 yeah.
they're like, oh brother, he doesn't want to kill this other one, brother. Let's kill
The
them anyway.
gods have spoken.
Yeah. Oh. And it's one of those things where it's like you can show them for like two scenes because you can show them the first time in the background. They're like, "Hey, it's supposed to be an exhibition. I want them to kill each other," and then everyone
Yeah,
goes like, "Dog, really? Like, it's not really supposed to be like that." And you can just tell that they're like they have no understanding of what the people like what everyone else wants, so they're
yeah,
not able to
yeah,
read a
yeah,
room, and they're
yeah,
using their power. And then the next one could be them trying to like make the masses like them, but you realize that they like the mom and then the general more, right?
yeah,
So you could just have those scenes, and then just have like because then at that point everyone in everyone's mind goes, the fucking emperors are fucking weird child crazy guys,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
The next thing I would do is I would keep Denzel's character stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
would just move a lot of the scenes between Lucius and the mom and just focus on like Lucius being with the boys and then becoming more and more friends with Denzel's character. Because one thing that I wish like didn't make sense for a little bit is that Denzel's character is like, you're my boy, you're my number one guy.
Yeah.
You I
You're
have
my
no
number one
yeah.
guy.
And they literally have like no they have no like rapport. Lucia's character is constantly just like, I'm not gonna talk when people tell me to talk. I'm spitting in the face of everybody. And that's one thing that I think was really weak in this movie, unfortunately, is that Lucius Pedro Mescal's is it what's the dude's name is not Pascal. It's not Pedro Pascal, it's the Mescal the Lucius guy.
Paul Mescal. Paul
Paul.
Mescal. Or I'm
Okay,
not sure his
so
name, but yeah.
Paulie D he he gives these speeches that I don't care about at all.
Yeah.
He goes and he's like, "All right, guys, remember the 5th of November." And you're like, dude, oh my god, he's using someone else's lines. Like, come.
Yeah,
And I don't,
yeah.
and I don't think that this is like an actor problem so much as a writing
Writing.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, for sure.
they kind of screwed him a lot because Denzel, if he wants to go off script, people are going to just shut the hell up, and then they're like, "Well, Denzel Washington, go and say whatever you want, man." And
Yeah,
Denzel makes those lines work because he's Denzel Washington. He's one of the greatest actors of all time.
yeah. I will
Everyone
say the
else,
fact that Denzel Washington is the only person that could pull off the fact that he's the only one in this movie without an accent.
yeah, he was
He's
just
the only one with an American accent. Everybody else has some kind of European accent except for Denzel.
dude. They didn't show the ending clip where Denzel's character was washed through that little stream out into the ocean, and then he wakes up on the shores of wherever Training Day happened. He puts on his fucking police outfit and starts
Okay.
going, okay, just after he's like trying to turn a rebellion in Rome. But like, it's there's so like as you said, there's so many plot points. There's so
I'd
many things.
argue. I'd
Mhm.
argue. I'd argue. What'd you say about? I'd argue because I'd argue that you need the stuff with his mom because only because that's the only thing really tying it more so to the original movie. Although you're right though because you just did not have her in the movie, it would have been fine if she just wasn't in the movie and it was just. Although no, you actually no because you need that.
You need
You
her.
need
You need
something to
her.
verify the fact that he is the true heir to the throne. So I'd argue that you do need the mother stuff
Well,
to some degree.
here's what you could technically do. You could keep the meeting between the mother and the son from happening. Really,
Mm,
because the main conflicts in that situation is the kings not being as liked as the mother and
mm,
her and Pedro Pascal's, the hot general, right? Because it's like, oh, this is the woman that was like the like person during the good times. So we like her. She's beautiful. She's hot. She's great. Everyone loves her. And then they got the general who's just been whooping everyone's ass, and he's like, I just want to do stuff for the people. I appreciate everyone for coming out. Thank you. And everyone's just like, fuck him. This is the guy. We love him.
yeah.
And then the kings are just kind of like, the emperors are weird, kind of lame people. And so the emperor's gonna get pissed at them. It makes it so that Lucius can go and kind of do his thing. But you don't really still like you can literally take the interactions
You
between the mom and the son. The only thing
can
that would
take that out.
change is that Denzel's character would just inherently just be like, "Hey, I heard that they're trying to rebel on you guys," and they'd be like, "What rebellion?"
Because that he still could have, yeah, because he still could have got the information from because he got it from the Senate guy. So I
Yeah.
mean, he still could have, yeah, he still could
Oh,
have used that.
you know what you do? You make you could still technically use Lucius and put him into the situation of him trying to help the general, like they kind of reconcile. Here's what I would actually like. The general realizes that it's her son, and then he tries to go and be like, I'm gonna like he kind of like does his own little thing on the
Mm,
side without her knowing. And
mm,
then when they're like breaking him out, he's with so Lucius is with the like guys
general.
trying to rebel, the general trying to rebel. And
Yeah.
then Denzel thwarts it, becomes the main villain because he goes and defeats the plot of rebellion. Lucius gets captured, and the kings are like, "Oh, the poet's one of the people that was trying to overthrow us. Let's kill him, brother." And then the mom, and then the general's like, kind of tells the wife like, "Hey, this is your son," and she goes like, "Oh my god, it is my boy," and she's like, "I
Um,
plead mercy," blah blah blah.
that could, yeah, that could, yeah, and that's how it kind of comes to a head of like the
Yeah,
rebellion of the people, like the whole revolt, the people in the background because they're all siding with like the queen and the, or I
yeah.
don't know, she's queen, but like her and Pedro Pascal. But yeah, yeah, see that's the thing. But
I don't know.
I'd argue you can still do that without Denzel. But yes, but
Yeah,
well,
so
actually,
like,
no. You need him. You do. No. You would need him to thwart the breakout and all that stuff.
yeah.
So yeah. No. So yeah,
It's very difficult because you
do
have
that.
two villains that are both technically like end bosses. Because
Yeah.
the emperors are problematic because they own an army, so they're automatically like They're a threat. Like you can't just be like, oh, the emperors aren't a threat because they're not smart. It's like no, they own an army. Problem. Then you have Denzel's character who's just insanely intelligent, able to manipulate everybody, knows what he wants. He's basically the guy who drives the story. Problematic. You got to go in bit.
No, no, I got time.
Okay.
No, that's cool. I gotta play. I got
All right. But so
But
yeah, long story short, like there's I don't know if there's like you could take the monkey scene out actually. You could just take the monkey scene out. You could just have Denzel just being able to look at these guys and go, "Oh, this guy might be able to fight." Or Denzel being a part of the retinue that was out there watching the fights and could have seen.
I still think you might need some. You need something there though to show that this is a badass. You need
Yeah.
something.
Well, you just do like they just do like a training thing. They don't have to go like they could go and show the barbarity of it. I think the monkey scene was completely like avoidable. And then like he gets like a stupid nickname and he just makes like everything about that scene makes Lucius look lame. He fights a CGI monkey. Um he his his
I
his,
don't know.
his pal dies. His pal dies randomly and it shows like hey we're like they literally show a cool general die for no reason without any like it's stupid because Lucius is like, we're gonna do this, guys. Everyone believe that you can follow me. Looks to his left and his buddy's just getting like torn apart. And I'm
The
just
way
like,
they did it was for.
yeah, and it's just like it just makes Lucius look stupid.
But I still think the way he killed that monkey, man, he kind of gets into it with the only. Okay, for me personally, my biggest beef is just the CGI of it. Everything outside of that, I think I'm relatively fine with. Except for you're right. Well, except for the fact that like it does just kind of leave everyone just kind of watching around in the background. There's that, and then
Yeah.
the fact that he does sort of the dude just he does just kind of let the guy die because he's just looking around. All of a sudden he looks and the guy's being killed by a monkey. Whereas like you should have kind of been right there to begin with. But I do think you need something to show how badass he is, though. I think that
Yeah.
you do need something to kind of
But that
build
was
with
the
that.
first episode. That was the first arc. The first little like him like running and like, hey, I'm like the second in command. Let's go. He's not really a
Yeah,
general just yet, but he's kind of like showing that he's at least in command. People look at him and go, hey, this foreigner is about to tell us what to do.
yeah,
And he's like killing so many Roman guys that it's like okay, he's a good fighter, has a wife that's badass, and he like has control of like soldiers.
yeah.
And then they go and completely throw that under the bridge when he goes into the gladiator stuff, and he's like, guys, we can work together, and like nothing happens. And then he keeps doing that where he's trying to like get people to like join up with him, and no one is really like giving a shit. And it takes to like
I
the
would.
end.
I'd argue not necessarily knowing though, because I feel like yes and no, because I think a part of what you think about too is that one scene where that one like the rhino fight where that one guy
Yeah,
was like, nah, fuck, I'm doing my own thing. But then I think that also showed everybody else that this is somebody we should listen to because his advice was right, and that guy tried to do his own thing and got killed. And so like
yeah,
you kind of sort of see them building. Oh, this guy's our leader type of thing in the background. It's not done very like they don't
yeah,
do too much emphasis on it, but even the part like when he's because they don't do it that well. Like the part where they're kind of training before the boats, and then he makes a joke, and the guy punishes him by making him row by himself. But like you see everyone in the back kind of watching, like they kind of want to go over there and do that. I thought they were going to do a scene where everyone walks over and helps them anyway. I thought they were building up to that, but they didn't do that. But there was sort of kind of that energy where like they sort of kind of wanted to, but the guys, hey, leave him alone, let him do this. But which Mind you, I have a problem with that because why are you taking your MVP and making him do all the and tiring his body out the
yeah,
night before the match? Imagine let's go back to the NBA.
yeah,
Imagine the night before a Lakers game, JJ Redick makes LeBron James runs 1,000 pills suicide and up in the bleachers all
yeah,
night long before the game. Imagine that.
yeah.
LA would have his head on on a stick in no time.
I'm
It's like
actually a little shocked at this movie for not having a like romantic love interest at all.
that's why I think maybe that's what have been that was what the
Oh, the
lady.
other,
Well, I
yeah.
think maybe I don't know for sure because maybe also they thought to cut it out to leave because it was supposed to maybe add more weight to him losing his wife as they never actually replaced her.
Hmm.
Maybe that's why they decided not to do it, or if I don't know because like the movie honestly because I still say the movie pretty much forgets about his wife
Yeah,
because there was nothing that should have incited his change in attitude and change in behavior. There was
yeah,
nothing because he already thought Rome was a terrible place. I can understand if he thought Rome was this big dreamland and he got there and he realized it wasn't because the whole thing when Pedro Pascal he's about to spare Pedro Pascal, but then the emperors had like the guards kind of kill him anyway, and
Yeah,
he's like, "Is this how Rome treats its people? Is
yeah,
this how?" Then it'd make more sense that that was an eye opening moment for him. Where he realized, "Oh, is this how Rome treats its people?" And but he wasn't thinking that. Like when they were all together, he's like, "Guys, get used to that smell because that's the stench of Rome because Rome sucks." He was telling everybody that from the beginning. He already knew Rome sucked. So
yeah. Yeah, it
there was
was one of those
nothing.
things like, and he would have known as a kid that Rome sucked for a little bit because you already had to deal with it when he watched Maximus die, and he's like, "Oh, we're really just out here letting this happen."
Yeah,
So
so there's nothing. There was nothing in those moments that changed his attitude. There was I
yeah,
thought that's my biggest gripe with the movie is there was nothing. He went so hard, and for him to just change for no reason was very jarring.
he
You know,
had
just so
nothing.
that later when his mom dies, it's a moment. But I felt nothing because she did nothing to earn his forgiveness. I feel like for abandoning
Yeah,
him, and that's why part of my change would have been like to not have her abandon him, like have her admit that she was searching for him the whole time, because then that makes that
imprisoned
death
or
more simple.
something.
It's like I just reunited with my mom. She tried to find me before, but like either make it clear that she thought he was dead, like when they show the flashback scene where he's a kid and then some guards are coming and then he's running off. They should have made it known that his mother sent those people. It's like she
Mm.
sent them there. They were there to come bring him back. He ran away. So they came and reported back that he was. I don't know, something that it's just. I don't know.
You know what? I will say it would have been more interesting a movie if they made Denzel's character a good guy. Because instead of doing like a training day thing where you're like, oh, the Denzel's kind of like unhinged. If they made him a
Yeah,
good guy, they
yeah,
could have just made Pedro Pascal's character a bad guy who was married his mom
yeah,
and
yeah,
actually kept that energy. Instead, they
yeah,
were like, "Oh no, it's the
yeah. That
drugs."
would have. Ooh, see that would have been another good fix.
Yeah,
Have Pedro Pascal. She doesn't want to be in that marriage.
no,
It's a forced marriage to keep her in check.
yeah,
He's maybe
she's
beating her around all the time or something like that, and then have it. I can get you that man.
yeah,
And he comes in and realizes that he hates him for killing his wife. Then he hates him because he's beating. Then he explains the narrative of why she shot.
yeah.
But that would be another good fix.
And then him and
Yeah.
Denzel can constantly like cross people off the list of like, "Oh, we got to kill this guy now. We got to do this. We got to kill that." And you could have
Or
him be like
even
in a
even flip flop Denzel and Pedro. Pedro.
yeah,
I either way, because I think both of them could
yeah,
hold either one of those roles really well. Where either way, where it's like Pedro, Denzel would have been the general that's like married to the wife. Like, well, I used to be your father's slave. Now who's got a slave or something?
or they literally just they go and tell all the audience that this is how Pedro is. Like he's like this like brutish bad
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
at the like right before like on the crescendo of him about to go and get killed, his wife is a wife, quote unquote wife, which would be Lucius's mother, goes like, no, he's been putting on this act because he
mm,
has to act this way to keep me safe from everybody else. Because no one's gonna fuck with this guy because he's the general. And then he learns the backstory, and you can still keep Denzel as like technically a good guy without
yeah,
like setting up and orchestrating everyone getting killed. And then you just make the kings be the villains, kill the kings off, and have Denzel kind of have a little battle, like power battle, because Denzel could run the Senate. Like if Denzel runs the Senate, Rome's fine.
yeah.
But they had to go and do a whole bunch of corrupt, like
I will say between those
schmarminess.
two fixes you just suggested, I like it better if Pedro Pascal was really bad the whole time and not like put on an act. I was gonna say between the two, I like it better that way. But either he
Yeah,
could do either one. But yeah.
they had too many like villains just pop up and be like, guess what, guys?
Yeah, it was too much. It was
I'm
too.
evil too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was too. It was too. It was.
yeah,
It just tried to do a bit too much, but I know well, like I'm being critical and all that stuff, but
yeah,
I do want to go back and say overall I enjoyed the movie. Like I enjoyed the
yeah.
time that I had. I thought it was fine. Um, Not a classic or anything like that, but I did have a good time overall watching the movie.
I think I will. So overall, I think this movie's one that's worth a watch just because like the
Yeah.
cinematic
Oh yeah.
aspect.
Yeah.
That boat scene's
Oh,
crazy.
side note, this has nothing to do with really anything, but I do
Mm,
want to go because I was reading some reports about how for Gladiator One, apparently Ridley Scott's the director.
yeah,
He really wanted to have some rhinos in the movie. That was like a big
yeah.
point for him, is like to have a whole army of rhinos or something like
Shit.
that, which he never got a chance to do. But then he was like, well, now with current technology and all the
Yeah.
CGI stuff, I can have a rhino, which is why they had the rhino scene in there
The rhino scene
before.
was cool. I feel like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
rhino
well, that
scene they
was
should have had some other people with that just to make it a little bit more like it's just like one rhino on it, like with a guy with like one rhino. And I'm like,
yeah,
yes, this is actually like it's just a guy on a tank that can kill everybody. But I
yeah.
would like to see like more fighting than just like a whole bunch of guys just standing around going like, "What do we do?
Dude, I'm
What?"
telling you. The fact is, yeah,
There's no battle tactics until you get to the boat scene, which is what makes the boat
yeah,
scene cool. Because they're like, freaking row, we're gonna ram into these guys, then we're gonna charge in, and they're gonna have the smoke in their face, and we're gonna kick their ass. And I'm like, this is great tactics.
yeah.
Um, yeah, no, overall, like, I think I'll try to wrap this up. So
Oh wait, real quick, real quick.
yeah,
You know the scene where the chambermaid or whatever her name is, or whatever she was listening and heard them talking
oh
about
yeah,
breaking out. How did you said you saw this in theaters, right?
yeah.
How did your theaters react to that scene?
Oh, or
Because
she
I
just,
don't know. Because I just remember for mine in particular, it was a very vocal reaction within the
uh,
theater. I think I saw it like twice. I saw it in the scene a couple like a week or so later. After that, I was with my nephew and my brother. But like 'cause I saw I think it was like Thanksgiving weekend that I saw. So it was like theater. Because I usually try to go when there's like nobody in the theater, so I try to go like
yeah.
early time stuff like that. But like the theater was like packed because it was like Thanksgiving weekend or something like that. I remember it was a very vocal reaction to that when the lady screamed. I was like, "Ooh," there was a gas and like,
So for me, I was literally like, I actually had one of the best showings. It was like the big theater, like so, like my theater in the Alamo. They have multiple different theaters that are like kind of like the small, like one like about 20, 30 people can go and fit in it. But they have one that was like the big one where it's like 70, 80. And I had like five groups in there, like me, a couple, and like a couple other people. So it was
yeah.
very quiet throughout. So when I saw it, like in my mind, I'm just like, oh, come on, man. We're really gonna do this? Just have like somebody sit in the background. You might as well just put like a person with a
Preaching.
painting, with like the eyes moving.
Yeah.
Ooh. I was like, come on, dude. Oh, let's just
Oh,
go and let's just go and talk to Denzel's character and just tell him what we're about to do.
yeah.
'Cause that'd be actually that would be actually a better fix. Denzel's helping orchestrate, and then he betrays everyone, which then makes him even more of a villain.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
They
yeah,
should have leaned
yeah.
into him being like a friendly, like I hate Rome too. Let's fucking work together. And you go like, oh shit. But then you realize that one person wants to destroy Rome, the other just wants to destroy the people who run Rome. And then you kind of get that like, because it's like they both are on the same page until that end crescendo. That's a whole other thing. Overall,
You know what? Something else. Oh no.
oh no, go ahead, go
Yeah,
ahead, go
go
ahead,
ahead.
go ahead.
Overall, for that. Something else that I just realized, um, looking at the cast and stuff as well. I think majority of the main cast is either in a Marvel movie or will be in a Marvel movie very soon. Because Denzel's supposed to be in the next Black Panther movie. Pedro
Mm,
Pascal is supposed to be Mr. Fantastic. Joseph Quinn, he's the guy that played one of the Emperor brothers. He's
mm.
supposed to be Johnny Storm in the Fantastic movies. Him and Pedro teaming up in that.
What?
Um, his brother, the other Emperor, he just played the chameleon in Craven.
That's super weird.
The only one I think that of that main cast that isn't the men, I guess, in that main cast, would be Paul Mescal. I don't think is in a Marvel movie, but I wouldn't be surprised. It's only a matter of time.
Paul Mescal is Doctor Doom.
Except for that's already Tony Stark,
No,
which
no, no. That's a whole other
whatever his
story for
name is,
another time.
Robert Downey Jr.
I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah.
I think that's a multiverse thing where they're going to do like an Iron
But
Man
they
thing.
said specifically it's not a multiverse thing. He is actually supposed to be like Victor Don Doom, and not like a Tony Stark, not like in a multiverse where like Tony Stark becomes Doctor Doom. He's
Mm,
legit Victor Von Doom.
that's gonna suck. That's gonna
Yeah,
suck. And like,
I
and
mean it
unfortunately,
might be in a different universe that he's Victor Von Doom, but he's supposed to be like a legitimate Victor Von Doom that just looks like Tony.
see, the problem is like, you have to go soon. If not now, we'll talk about
I
that.
got a couple more minutes, but yeah,
No, we'll talk. We'll get into that on another podcast because that's a whole other can of worms. I'm a huge Doctor
yeah,
Doom fan. I need someone who is menacing, who is smarmy, who can who isn't already in a role in any Marvel films. Because
yeah.
that's the thing, they're running out of actors that I can just point to
And
and be
think
like,
I think they're literally running because the thing is they're bringing back the Russo brothers. They're bringing back whoever else helped the Russo brothers write most of the other Marvel movies they did. They're
yeah,
bringing back Tony. They're bringing back. There's rumors that Captain America, what's his name, Chris Evans, might be trying to come back into the MCU as well. And it's like, bro,
sure.
we had the whole Infinity Saga, and ended with both of them dudes dying.
You
Why are
know
we bringing
who?
them back?
You know what sucks is that I think Jake Gyllenhaal or Chris Pines could be good Victor Von Dooms
I can see
because
it.
they're both handsome, but they both give you this air of like they could be petty. Like I can feel like both of them could be very petty. Anyways, that's all. Anyway,
There's somebody. I'm trying to think of who it is. There's somebody that I saw.
hold on,
Oh,
Chad. Let's at least go and give Gladiator 2 doesn't turn into a
oh yeah,
Marvel.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
randomly,
Listen,
randomly, randomly, Blade shows up in Gladiator 2. Just like, oh,
but
that's the fucking spoiler.
the last 15 minutes of every episode, we start talking about Marvel stuff.
It's just here's it. And also, let's talk about Superman and DC. Oh no, God, we're gonna actually get into it now. No, overall, Gladiator 2 was fun to watch. It
Yeah,
was a
yeah, yeah.
great film.
I recommend.
It was great for cinematography, and it was great for like Denzel performances. Pedro did pretty
Yeah,
good throughout. Like honestly, it's because of his character didn't have much to do outside of just being a
that's the
pivotal thing.
thing. Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
but
They
like
didn't give him a
acting
whole lot
wise,
to
did
chew
great.
on.
No, they were like, here's you get no lines. You're gonna say some stuff, and you're just gonna be sad. You're just gonna be sad
Which
and
is why,
depressed.
which is why I love like that opening that or not opening, but in that after the opening war scene or
Mm.
battle scene, you can tell on his like look on his face, you can tell that this fighting has had its has worn on him. Oh
You
my
got
god, I
worn
can't even
down.
talk. Yeah, yeah, but I do really appreciate that. Like I think he's a great actor. The
Yeah,
cast was great. Casting was great in this
yeah.
movie. Um,
They didn't give anybody a lot of stuff to work with. Like Lucius,
because you had too many people. That's fine. I'm
yeah,
like, cut Denzel out, or cut somebody. Somebody needs to be cut out. Because
they
even the
killed.
king, I want to more. Which I know you talked about like a little things like having kind of them being like in 2, 3 plot points. But like I wanted to see more of them. Like I wanted to see everyone I wanted more of. And there just wasn't enough time. Or wasn't enough movie to do. And the movie was 2.5 hours.
Yeah, and I'm so surprised they didn't show enough raunchiness. Because when you talk about Rome and then depravity and debauchery, I was expecting some like Caligula. There's a movie called Caligula, which is about like a Roman like Caesar kind of guy, not like Julius Caesar, but like someone like the Roman emperor who was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm having orgies and I'm spending everybody's money and I'm killing anybody who tries to fuck the people I want to fuck. It's
No.
nasty. It's very bad though.
I'm about
But
to say no.
yeah, yeah. But anyways, it's Gladiator 2. There's a lot of faults. I wish they had done something different to certain extents. But I
Yeah.
think we both can say that like overall it's like a good watch, but not like watch it once.
Not amazing. It's not. Yeah. Like if it was on TV and I was flipping through channels, I'd probably tune it. Depending on the scene, I'd probably
Yeah,
tune in for a little bit. If it was some of those battle scenes, I'd probably like, hey, let me watch this for a little bit.
yeah,
But I don't think I'd ever like, hey, let me go watch Gladiator 2 right now and watch all 2.5 hours of this movie. And it'd be if it was on and I was flipping through channels, which I don't even flip the channels anymore
mm,
thanks to streaming.
yeah.
I'd maybe catch a little bit of it, but like other than that, but definitely get your first watch it. Definitely get at least one watch it.
Yeah, there's so many like secondary characters. Even when he meets friends with the medicine guy, and then the medicine guy
Oh
goes and
yeah,
talks to the
no.
generals. I was just like, all right, we're there's this is turning into like an actual Marvel multiverse, and you haven't
Yeah.
given me movies on everyone else.
Yeah.
But
Which
yeah,
that's part of the
anyways,
reason why I feel like they should focus more that he's supposed to be the true emperor because that's how he got the army to come support. Because he was like,
yeah,
show him this ring and tell him the true emperor, king of Rome is or the true emperor of Rome is asking for support. And it's like, bro, that's why. Anyway, but yeah, y'all heard my fix earlier. Y'all can rewind and listen to it again if you want
yeah.
to.
Play this on repeat, guys. Just realize that we do like this movie. I love
Oh
is a
yeah,
strong word.
right. We see at points it might seem like we are going hard or whatever, but I still really enjoyed my watch. Um, yeah, we still really enjoyed the movie. It's just, I mean, you can enjoy something and be critical about points as well. But like, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh man. All right. Well, next time, do you want to switch up the rotation? Because we have a couple movies we wanted to talk about in the future. We have Sonic 3, Wolfman. I'm gonna go and see so that way we can
Oh,
talk about that.
yeah, I gotta
Nosferatu, I
go back
definitely
on that
want
one.
to talk about
Oh,
because I
do
love
you?
that.
Okay,
I love Nosferatu. That was a great movie for me. Saw it on
yeah.
Christmas. So I go to
I
Goth
have very
Nights.
mixed.
Nails
I
be
have
lit.
very, I have very mixed feelings about Ratu.
Oh,
I loved William Dafoe, but I have very mixed feelings about that movie in general. We can talk about it when we get to it. I'm about to go see what's it called?
Wicked
Flight
3.
Plan.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
about to go see what's his name? Marky Mark on the airplane. And 4DX, shout out to 4DX again because
Hey.
you know the seats are gonna be rocking.
Anytime you take
So I'm gonna check
a
that
movie that's not interesting, you're just like 40x it.
out. I'm moving slow. Nothing happened in it. And
Oh, you
it's
should go and see Baby Girl in 40x.
like,
It's the one where the girl's like getting like that'd be
yeah.
hilarious. The guy's
I
just like
told you.
whispering on her neck, and you have like air blowing behind your neck. You're just like, oh, this is weird, dude. Oh,
I don't know if it happened because I know we went to go see Beetlejuice in 4D, but like,
yeah.
um, it squirts water out sometimes too.
They just hop in the pool, start. I didn't even see that movie. I'm just talking about the clips, and I'm
But there's,
yeah.
there's probably a scene. There's
You know what?
probably
40x should have existed for 50 Shades of Grey.
it did. I think it did.
Oh,
Because 4DX has been out for a while. Like I'm telling you, I only just discovered it, but it's been out. Like I know people said they saw The Dark Knight in 4DX, and that was like
oh,
2008 or something like that. So like it goes back.
oh, man. Maybe we should do. You want to do the Batman with Robert Pattinson? I think I remember that movie
Okay,
enough.
okay. I mean, I'd have to do a rewatch. I don't remember it enough at all.
So, Baby
But
Girl,
I
and
wouldn't mind doing a rewatch. I wouldn't mind doing a rewatch. So I'd be down for that.
yeah, that's. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in, Cheddar.
Yeah, man.
Pleasure
We'll
as
have a name at
always.
some point. So it's just the Justin and the 40 and Cheddar, the 40 Cheese podcast.
40 cheese.
We'll have a name at some point. Um,
Call it
yeah.
40 cheese reels. 40 cheese reels. There it is.
Here we go, Tim. We'll do that for now.
That's
40
what it
Cheese.
might be, and then you guys will find out if it sticks later on.
Sticks to sticks. If it doesn't, so that might be it for now.
But you know, sometimes cheese sticks.
Catch y'all later.
Guys.